right here from Long Island. They are a group that have been together for at least 10 years now. Some of their music has been featured on the hit running soap opera Guiding Light and even featured on USA Network's Royal Pains. They are New Life Crisis. Big round of applause for them. Say hello to the lead singer, Paul Mayhos, their guitarist, Jeff Alagoo, and on drums we have Steve O'Brien. Big round of applause for them, guys. Thanks for being here today.
Our pleasure.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So tell us, how did New Life Crisis come into play? You guys have been together about 10 years. How'd you guys meet?
My brother actually started the band a little longer than that, and it's gone through different transitions, and this
incarnation
has been around for about 10 years. So my brother started the band with another former Long Islander, Rob Weber, former New Life Crisis musician.
Nice.
And yeah, and so here we are.
And you guys got several albums out. I mean, what's your latest CD that's been released?
It's called The Odyssey, which is like a medley of Bowie tunes, or Bowie-inspired tunes. It goes Cure, a little New Order in there, a little U2, Cure. Did I say that already?
That's all right. So, do you guys write your own music together, or do you write? Do you perform other songs? Like I know I read in your bios that you perform music like the Beatles, and
Yeah.
some of you have been involved with like YouTube type song.
Yeah.
Did I say YouTube or YouTube? I meant YouTube. But you've been involved with his types of songs.
Sure.
Do you do like a little of everything? Would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, we're working musicians, and wherever we can go to make a buck, but we perform all over Long Island. And a lot of times we'll do a mix of covers and originals, and the covers that we do are a range of, like, you know, dance stuff, like our own kind of version of it. We have a version of Rocket Man that's kind of dance rock, and
Very cool.
so
how many albums do you guys have out at this point?
3, and then you know, 3 that are all available on iTunes and all that stuff. And then Jeff just put out a solo guitar record as well.
Called Lovely Savages. It's all acoustic guitar music, classical guitar, steel. Yeah, really nice. Came out beautiful.
Very nice.
And that's
So for
available
people
too.
that might not be familiar with your type of music, what is your overall genre of music you perform?
We call it like dance rock, but it is very eclectic. It'll go from, you'll hear influences from the Beatles, like you said, to Elvis, to Johnny Cash, to U2, down the line.
And Paul, you're actually the lead singer of the group,
Correct.
and you're really no stranger to the audience. You've been acting and performing for a very long time.
Yep.
What are some other roles that you've been other than a music artist?
I played in a touring production of, it was called Elvis: A Musical Celebration. We toured around the United States for a couple of years, and played at Las Vegas Hilton. So love Vegas. And then I played Bono in a tribute show, and we played at in Legends, the Legends show in Las Vegas as well.
Very cool.
And that toured all over as well.
Yeah. And you've also done a little Broadway, a little off-Broadway as
Yeah,
well.
I did a show that Yoko Ono wrote called New York Rock,
Uh-huh.
and that was really cool. She was wonderful, and I got to hang out the Dakota, and that was
Very cool.
it was great.
Exciting stuff. So how long have you been involved with music before joining the group New Life Crisis?
Oh, since I was a kid.
Wow.
You know.
What was your inspiration?
Well, my brother Jerry started singing before I did, and he performed Heartbreak Hotel at one of the school concerts, and that was it. And then I was like, that's how I got hooked on Elvis. And
So do you come from like a musical background? Any mom and
only
dad
me and my
involved
brother.
in music?
That's it.
So do your parents look at you and go, where did you guys come from?
Pretty much. My mom's hard of hearing, so that's definitely a mystery to her.
That's pretty funny. And you've also appeared on Jason Nevins' remix
Yeah.
as well.
I did a
Tell us about
remix
that.
with a great dance artist called named Kim Sazi, and we did a remake of "Don't You Want Me, Baby" by the Human League, and appeared on a bunch of compilation records, Ministry of Sound, and all other kinds of things. So yeah.
Very cool. So what are your overall goals? Where do you see yourself in 10 years now as a music artist?
Alive. Breathing.
Well, we want to just keep doing what we're doing, be creative, be artistic, you know, obviously have our records, you know, out there bigger than they are now, which is kind of, you know, localized, I guess.
Well, I heard you guys play live over the summer over at Tide Runners in Hampton Bays, and I thought you guys were great. And actually, my director, Adrian, has known about you guys for some time as well, and she's like, you know, we really got to get them on the show, which mission accomplished, and
Well,
they're
thank you.
great music artists, and we have a couple of their CDs, and honestly, you're in for a real treat later because you guys are going to perform for us later on. If you look around the studio, you see, you know, it's all set up, ready to go in just a little bit. But Jeff, I'm going to move on to you next because you're actually the lead guitarist and bass player for the group here. Tell us, how did you get involved with music?
I started playing classical guitar when I was 10 and studied that for years and sort of morphed into playing with various artists. I played with Taylor Dane for many years as a bass player, and then the Trans-Siberian Orchestra I've been with for 10 years.
Wow.
So I've played with a lot of different artists through the years and stuff like that, and just performing locally. I had my own band with my brother for many years, and then I saw Paul one night who was playing with my brother, and I thought he was just amazing. And being a big Elvis fan, I had asked him for this very obscure Elvis tune, which I didn't think he'd know, you know. It was just a great tune that I always loved.
Right.
And he just did it immediately, spot on with all the moves and everything like that. I just thought he was tremendous, you know. So after the Taylor Dane thing, he had asked me to kind of come along and start playing with him, you know. And that was about 10 years ago, so we've been doing that ever since.
Wow.
And we were fortunate to get Steve, our great drummer here, who brought so much to the table as far as how we improvise as a band, because now that we're a three-piece, there's a lot of improvisation like a jazz band does, where we're sort of, you know, from Paul's end, he'll start something and we'll sort of morph into other things, almost telepathy-wise, you know, like jazz guys do, but in a rock and pop setting. So it's really, really interesting. And because he has such a great jazz background, he brings such cool things to the table as a drummer that allows me a lot of freedom as a guitarist and a bass player. And then Paul, being pretty fearless about styles that he'll do, kind of brings that in as well. So it really is a very original band. Wow. You know, aside from doing and writing structured pop songs and things like that, in the live performance there's a great sense of pure improvisation, and anything goes. We never work with a set list. We go feed off the audience, and every night's different. And I think that's what keeps us going, because we'll see the same faces night after night, you know, because we're not doing the same thing. And I think that's what keeps us as musicians happy, and also keeps the audiences happy. And, you know, we're not doing, like, there's a lot of tribute bands now on the island that just do one thing. And I think that's, you know, it's a one-trick pony. It gets boring after a while. From my point of view as a musician, or from us, you know, it's great if you say you want to go see this thing, but you see our band, you see the history of music, because we'll do everything from Johnny Cash to the Beatles to U2 to Depeche Mode to New Order
Bee Gees,
to Bee Gees,
Barry White,
and then
current stuff.
Yeah, and then our own
Very
originals,
interesting.
and then our own original music with our own take on all of those kinds of artists too. So we're not doing ever like a set version of a particular
well, you
artist.
almost get to see where we're writing from. You know, we take all the pop music influences, and then we play our own stuff, and then it makes sense because you hear how we incorporate all those influences into our own music, whether it's dance elements and hip-hop elements with rock elements, and so it works great. So we start out with a blank canvas almost every night, and paint a new picture every single night.
I mean, looking at the three of you, I mean, have you all been together since the beginning of time, since the band?
It seems that way. Certainly, the way we can, you know, read each other's mind on stage, it's pretty uncanny.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like you guys hit it right off. I mean, did you guys hit it right off right away when you met?
Steve's actually one of the founding members as well. He was in before I was actually in New Life Crisis. I took over the band for my brother, even though my brother and I started out together as well. It later on turned into New Life Crisis, you know, afterwards.
So was there a point where there was four of you?
There was a point when there was probably 5 and 6 of us.
And the reason I asked that is because the three of you, I mean, I saw the three of you perform, and I thought it was a phenomenal show. So it's amazing that you went from having so many more people where you think, like, maybe the band would be better, but the three of you do such a great job all on your own doing this.
Well, I call it the greatest two-piece band on the planet. 'Cause sometimes it's just Steve and I playing, and that's it, you know.
Murder up
Yeah, but it's good though, you know. There's a great sense of freedom and creativity because of that. When you have less things, you have to be more creative about how you use them. You know?
I'm still stuck on the Taylor Dane thing. As a big Taylor Dane fan, what was it like to get to work with her?
She was great. I mean, she's an amazing singer and a great musician. I spent 3 years with her touring, and
I hear she's a very lovely person as well.
Well, yeah, sort of. I don't know if lovely.
They can all be a little tough at times, but
I gotta say, she's excellent. She night after night put it out there, and one of the greatest singers I've ever worked with. And she was fearless. She would just go out there and do it, and we never did warm-ups, like she would just literally hit the stage.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, what was it like to, for people that love the music and say love Taylor Dayne or anybody interested in the big pop stars, what is it like to be on stage and to see what goes on behind the scenes?
Well, it was
and how it's all
interesting.
put together?
The band was a great, great band that I got to play with. Some musicians that worked with people like Luther Vandross, and other things, Stevie Wonder. There were a lot of great backup singers that she had. The musicians were top notch. For me, it was a great, great experience to play with some of the finest musicians out there. And because she had so many hits, it was just sort of like this greatest hits thing that we would go out and do. And she was amazing. I learned a lot about just being professional because I was thrown into it. I never had played big places before I worked with her. So like the second gig I did was one of these like outdoor things with 40,000 people, and it's freaky. You just like, you're like, jumbotrons and all that nonsense, and you have to get used to it immediately or you're done. You know what I mean? Right. So the first couple of gigs were tough, but
you go in feet first.
Yeah, pretty much, and she really put it out every night. I mean, I can't say anything bad about her.
She's got a phenomenal voice.
Amazing.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure her shows are just as phenomenal. Do you guys still get nervous before you go on stage and perform?
Yeah, not nervous, debilitating nervous, but good nervous, I think. There's always a great sense of you're excited to do good, but you're also, freaking about, if things are going to work,
Yeah, I still get nervous. My hands still sweat, and I like.
Are you nervous today?
A little bit. I don't really like the speaking aspect of it.
This is such a fun show.
You ask my band. I hate speaking when we're performing. I like singing. I love acting. I love acting too.
Well, you can sing your answers if you like.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't make me feel any better. But I hate talking in between songs. I will literally turn around and shoot daggers at them. And we have a great time. But I hate dead air.
One of his things is there's no, you couldn't put a cigarette paper between songs. I mean, it's got to be this sort of, non-stop. We'll play sometimes 3.5 hours without any, which is
like
great.
A concert,
I hate, I hate bumbling chatter, and I'm always, I always do it, even now,
Well, there's nothing worse than talking about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
For some people, they absolutely love it. You give them a mic and off they go. But Jeff, I do want to talk a little bit more about your solo guitar album that you have. It's actually called The Lovely Savages.
Yes.
What can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, it was a record that I did because I started with classical guitar, and I love Spanish music, classical music, but I also love pop songs, and I did great arrangements of the Beach Boys' God Only Knows, one of my favorite songs. The Beatles' She's Leaving Home is on there. Also Eleanor Rigby, but then it coexists with things by Bach and a Spanish composer named Tarrega, and I did the theme from The Deer Hunter, Cavatina, which is a lovely piece that was focus of that film. It was one of the centerpieces of that film, and it's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. So it's kind of an overview of variety of classical and pop songs that I took and rearranged for guitar, for solo guitar, and for a few guitars together, And that's available on iTunes. It's a very nice
And if I may brag on his behalf for a second, we, and on our behalf, we were playing one of the gigs out live in Bridgehampton, and very famous guitar player Al Di Meola. I don't know if you guys know, but he's a world famous guitar player, influenced everybody. And was blown away not only by the band, but by Jeff's playing. And Jeff had an opportunity to play him his record, and coincidentally he is recording a Beatles record now, and it was very, very influenced and inspired by Jeff's versions on his record.
Yeah, we've since become great friends, which is awesome for me, because he was one of the founding jazz fusion. There's a group called Return to Forever with Chick Corea, Lenny White, Al Di Meola, which in 1975-76 was a premier band, because before that band, you had jazz, you had rock, but you never had the fusion of the two. And that group was gigantic for bringing that. And Al, in particular, as a guitar player, changing the course of how guitar was played. His technique was brilliant, and his sense of musicality was amazing.
He influenced everybody from...
He introduced Steve Vai, Joe Satriani,
Eddie Van Halen,
all those guys that came after him, Steve Morse, Yngwie Malmsteen, they were all directly influenced by Di Meola's guitar and his record. that came out. The first record was a humongous album for changing the course of guitar playing. So it's a great honor for us to have played with him and for him to really love our band.
And he got it, though. He got
totally
exactly
got
what
it,
we were
yeah.
doing.
Yep.
He knew that it was improv. He got that sense, and
Yep.
he came up and jammed with the band, and it was a great experience.
Yeah.
That he was kind of a little thrown too. Like
Yeah.
he jumped right in, of course, but
Yeah, he dug it, and it was such a great honor, you know, and to since become friendly with him has just been amazing for me because he influenced me so greatly, you know.
But that's one of the great things, you know, with our band is we've been in those circles of people like that. We did David Bryan's wedding. Who's Bon Jovi's keyboard player. He also wrote the hit show Memphis on Broadway, and you know it's very flattering for them to hire us to entertain them.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've done a lot of parties for his friends, and he's jammed with us almost every time he's seen us, and he's a big fan supporter of the band. And
Yeah,
so to
great.
have those types of people on that level, I mean, this is Bon Jovi. They play arenas, and
Definitely.
Dimiola, who's done what he's done, and
It just validates, I think, what we do, and you feel because it's genuine. It's not like you know it's not like somebody's forcing those two things together. These guys really wanted to.
So, Steve, how do you like being the drummer here at New Life Crisis?
I mean, these two are my my heroes. I
Comrades.
work with every night. You know, they keep me on my toes. So
it's
been,
definitely an awesome trio. How long have you been playing, actually?
Oh, I've been playing 37, 38 years now.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
since he was one.
Yeah.
What's great about being a professional, working full-time musician is working with guys like these that we can create something different every night.
Yeah.
That's really special. We're very lucky to be doing it. You know.
Very cool. And to have your music featured on like the Royal Pains and Guiding Light, one of the longest running soap operas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment as well.
And
Yeah.
being an original band too, you know.
Yeah.
We take pride in what we do as far as originals, you know.
So,
It's very easy to get wrapped up in the whole cover scene and bar scene and
yeah. I mean, I grew up playing piano and keyboard and things, so I mean, I'm trying to understand, like, how do you learn to play the drums? Like,
it's old school. 9 years old, I started in school. You know, the old fashioned way, music department, and learning that way, and then just local, bands as a kid, garage bands, and then you take it to a step further, private instruction.
Here you are today.
And, yep.
Very cool.
And it gets to the point where
Blink
it
your
seems like-
eyes and you're
Yeah. Like
You blink your eyes and you're lying about your age.
So we're going to take our first break here, guys. Because
Okay.
after we come back, New Life Crisis is going to take the stage and perform several of their hit singles for us. Stay right here. Be right back. Just tuned in. Well, today, New Life Crisis is our guest today. We just finished our chat, and they are going to take the stage now and perform several of their hit singles. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank all three of them for being part of our show today. Thank you guys so much. You guys did an awesome interview. They're going to perform now. They're going to close us out as well. And I just want to thank you at home for watching. We'll see you next time. Stage is yours, guys. Thank you.
Is like a simple note, one that sings straight to my heart. I keep waiting for your words to come alive, 'cause I'm dying if you promise is all lies. waiting for your words to come alive. What's broken if your promises are lies? 'Cause I'm dying if your words don't come alive. If you could open up your heart and you could see me. If you could open up your heart and I could see you who you are. If you could open up your heart, see us when we are. If you could open up your heart, I could see you who you are. Could see me who I am. I wanna know you better. I wanna push you, baby, but never too far. I wanna show you heaven. I wanna be like you, just as strong as you are. I wanna be daylight in your eyes. I wanna be sunlight on your woman. I wanna be daylight in your eyes. I wanna be love, only stronger. I wanna be daylight. You make your money on the streets. You make your money on your MTV. You make your money dishing dirt. You make your money in your half-cut shirt. I know it seems a little strange. I know it seems a little weird. I know it seems a little hard. I know it seems a little queer. But you are such a dirty little girl. Dirty little mind. Dirty little makeup. Dirty little looks. Dirty little kind. You are such a dirty little girl. I love the way you move. You lay it down to funk, get into your groove. I see you making our friends. Your heavy makeup making up pretense. You're not stretching very far. Who you are, the star. You are such a dirty little girl. Dirty little mind. Dirty little makeup. Dirty little looks. Dirty little life. You are such a dirty little girl. You are always there with my attention. How you must be starving for affection. You know you're every man's obsession. Not just indiscretion. You make your money on the streets. You make your money on your MTV. You make your money dishing dirt. You make your money hacking up your skirt.